Minasan o keiko otsukaresama desu, and welcome back to Beyond the Dojo. How are you guys doing? Now, before I start talking about today's main topic, I'm very, very happy to announce to you that the number of the members of the Kyoto Dojo have now reached 58 members. Thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful. The in-person training, we currently have 7 members, and the online lessons, we have 51, I believe. So we have more than 50 members in online lessons. I'm really, really grateful. And there's always someone contacting me through Instagram or the chats in the on Patreon on telling me that they'd love to start training very soon, or maybe for March or stuff like that. So I think if you remember, around the end of January, I was able to report to everyone that the Kyoto Dojo achieved 46 members, but hopefully, yeah, again, we have 58, right? It would be amazing if we can say that around the end of February, right now it's February 20th, but it would be amazing if I can say that we have more than 60 members on the end of February. We'll see how it goes, though. The online lessons, I'm really grateful that a lot of people have been watching my clips of the online lessons on Instagram and also on this podcast, Beyond the Dojo. I'm really grateful that everyone's been watching that. A lot of people have started getting interested in my online lessons through those clips. I'm really struggling still with the in-person training, though. Yeah, in-person training, you really have to be in Kyoto, and of course, you actually have to go to the dojo and all that kind of stuff. And it's really hard to. It's definitely gonna take time. If I continue holding these trainings in Kyoto for a longer periods of time, the rumor, I guess, everyone will know more about the existence of the dojo, but. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit more time until the word spreads, and everyone, it becomes kind of like a something that like a local shop that everyone knows about, kind of thing. Eventually, gradually, people will know about you. But the in-person training at the moment, we've achieved 7 members, which is amazing. They're all very serious and hardworking trainees. But I'm really struggling to find the 8th, ninth, 10th head member from there. I'll just have to keep on doing my best, trying to spread the word. I do have a Japanese Instagram account for the Kyoto Dojo too, but we have achieved more than 500 followers, which is great. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. But we've been posting clips of the in-person training on that account as well, and I'm really grateful that more people are watching that too. But it really hasn't connected to new members yet, so I'll keep on working, do my best. Yep. Now, speaking of the in-person trainings, first of all, I actually got my first injury. I think this is my very first injury in Asayama Ichiden-ryu. There is a technique called Tsuriage Gote in Koteuchi 22 Kajo in Asayama Ichiden-ryu Hyoho. First of all, Koteuchi 22 Kajo is the 22 basic kenjutsu exercises. They're basically like elements of the kenjutsu katas, the official forms that are brought down in the ryuha. You break them down, and all the techniques you end up attacking the opponent's kote, which is the hand or the forearm. And there's one called the Suriage Gote. Suriage means to rub up. So the opponent tries to swing the katana down against you, and then you swing up right at the side of their katana, and you rub up their katana, and then you swing down and win. Yeah, kind of situation. But when I swung my katana down, I was doing the triangle, which is the losing side. I tried to swing back and try to swing the katana, and when my training partner, when he tried to raise his katana, he actually hit my index finger. Yeah, and it's been about a week or so since then, and there's still a little bit of a bruise, but it's doing a lot better. At the beginning, I couldn't really bend my finger. I couldn't stretch my index finger either, my right index finger, by the way. Yeah, but right now it's doing a lot better. I mean, guys, you guys know about me. I have the Raynaud syndrome, right? So I'm actually pretty used to having fingers that don't move or are very painful. So for me, it was no problem at all. I was totally, I should say, over the 10 years of fighting with the Raynaud syndrome, I am completely adopted. I am completely gotten used to, dealing with fingers that don't move properly, so I was totally fine. And right now it's working okay. There are some parts of my index finger, if I push it, it still hurts a little bit. It stings a little bit, but it's doing a lot better now. And it was really an amazing opportunity for me to learn actually experience, I guess, a very important teaching that's brought down in Asayama Ichiden-ryu. And it's actually about the tsuba. Now, the reason why I say this is because on that day when I was training the Suriage Gote with one of the members of the Kyoto Dojo, I was actually borrowing a Bokuto from a new member and we didn't have enough Bokuto on that day, so he actually brought his own Bokuto, which wasn't the Ichiden-ryu's type of Bokuto, but I was like, oh, well, it's fine, I'll just use that. Please use my official, Asayama Ichiden-ryu's Bokuto. I'll use the one that you brought, and that Bokuto, which was Bokuto itself is really, really good, but the thing is, the tsuba was actually a musashi tsuba. You might know, it's kind of like a two half circles put together at the center, if that makes sense. It looks almost like a butterfly, if that makes sense. If you guys can look up musashi tsuba for me, I think you'll be able to find that. My very first iaito, when I first started training in iaito about 10 years or 11 years ago, was actually musashi tsuba. I already gave it to a friend because it's too short, but that was actually a musashi tsuba too. But musashi tsuba, basically, it has huge holds. Yeah, but again, it's just like two half rings put together, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of holes. And in Asayama Ichiden-ryu, we say that using tsuba that have a lot of, see-through parts as a design or have a lot of holes is not a proper tsuba that you should use on the battlefield. Okay? Musha buge kousha no sezaru koto. I'm sorry, I forgot the exact Japanese phrase, but it literally means something that a martial artist, a katana user, should not do. Is basically using a tsuba that has a lot of holes, because you might get your finger cut through those holes of the tsuba. And in my case too, if I was using the official Asayama Ichiden-ryu's tsuba, I think I would have been able to protect my index finger using the guard, but the guard was a little bit smaller and it actually had a lot of holes, so I think it went through that and hit my index finger too. So, because if you're holding the katana correctly in Asayama Ichiden-ryu, you would have your index finger touching the tsuba gently, your right index finger touching the tsuba gently, so there's a risk of that happening, and I was really able to experience that with my experience that physically, so it was a really good experience. So I just wanted to share that with you as well. I think it's great that you might have seen my Instagram. I shared a video, a clip of that scene in slow motion where it happened. I want to really study how these injuries would happen and try to avoid them in the future. It's really important that me, as a person who is now responsible for the Kyoto Dojo, to know how these accidents happen. And when I teach the newer students again, I would be able to let them know that things like this could happen and have them avoid it. So again, the tsuba was one reason, probably. And number two, the second reason was that the training I was training with, he brought his hands up first and not the tip. So he brought his hands up first and the tip came later. So by the time I got really close to him, the tip of his katana was still low. As a result, the tip reached my index finger. Now, when you move a katana, of course, you need to move the monouchi side. Monouchi is the fusun from the tip of the katana, That is the area that you actually use to mainly strike with the katana, right? Monouchi means to strike objects. So you need to bring the monouchi up first, but he brought his hands up first and the tip of the katana was left behind. As a result, he kind of, he moved his katana almost like a fishing rod, if that makes sense. So as a result, the tip was left behind and that actually hit my index finger. So this too will definitely will be a really good experience for all of us, all the members of the Kyoto Dojo, to be careful in the future not to have these kind of incidents or accidents again. So I just wanted to share that experience with you too. And that was the story about the in-person training, and also about the online lessons, by the way. I'm very, very happy to let you guys know that I hold private lessons now. And because the Dawn promotion exams online will be coming up in less than a month, March 13th to 16th, those 4 days will be the days we'll be holding the Dawn promotion exam this year. The first one. The second one will be holding in September. So because there's an upcoming exam, a lot of the members are currently taking my private online lessons, and I've really, really been enjoying these private online lessons. Of course, during the regular lessons too, I'm sure, of course, the members who are taking the private online lessons have been training mainly in the regular lessons too, and they're doing really, really good. But especially in the private lessons, of course, I get to, not just be able to really talk with the members who are taking my private online lessons, being able to get to know them more, but I really get to look deeply into the details of the techniques. And I think that when you're building the foundation of your techniques, especially a Ryu style that's really difficult like Asayama Ichiden-ryu, I think it's really important that we train like this, and I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm doing this. So if you're interested in private lessons, you don't have to be taking my regular lessons. That's totally fine too. If you're interested, it'd be great if you can let me know. There's no, what should I say, place to buy a ticket or anything. You just have to send me a message and let me know that you're interested, and we'll be able to hold a lesson like that. So all right, then guys, the main topic I wanted to share with you guys today is not something super long, but it is really important. I do want to share about with you guys. To make a long story short, please don't call me sensei. Yeah, call me senpai instead. Okay? Now, I was really shocked when there was someone in the comments of a certain video, I think it was on Let's Ask Shogo, who told me about when I explained about these different titles that was used in Japan. You know, Japanese, this part of Japanese is really complicated, right? You know, what you add after that person's name. Is it a san? Is it a sama? Is it a kun? Is it a what? You know, there's all these different ways of calling different people depending on their ranks or your relationship with them, right? And someone told me that sensei is considered one of the lower ranks wherever they are from or wherever they are using that phrase. And of course, there are different ways. Like say, you could say sensei, you could say maybe shisho, you can say all these words. I'm sure you've heard these words before, but I want to make it very clear that the word sensei is considered almost the highest rank in the world of Japanese traditional culture. If you're called the sensei, then you are the grand master of the community. So, for example, in Asayama Ichiden-ryu Hyoho, Seki Sensei is the headmaster, right? So he is, of course, the sensei. And in the online lessons I hold with Tsukara Sensei and Kurosawa Sensei, they are the two Shihandai instructors, right? I have the name of the Patreon page as Tsukara Sensei and Kurosawa Sensei as well, and I always refer to them as Tsukara Sensei and Kurosawa Sensei. But strictly speaking, at the dojo, none of the Honbu members call Tsukara Sensei, or Kurosawa Sensei, unless they are the well, most cases I don't think they would call them that way, or if they do, it would be when Kurosawa Sensei is the only instructor at his branch in Kasukabe. And the reason is because sensei is the highest rank, and usually there aren't multiple senseis in one community. That's how important and respectful the sensei's rank is. So since I've been holding my online lessons and also my in-person training, of course a lot of the members have been trying to be very respectful and calling me sensei, but I don't want anyone to be calling me sensei. Please call me senpai instead. So sensei means the master or the teacher. Now, strictly speaking, if I can give you a little more of a Japanese lesson, sensei, sen means first, sei means to live. So you're living first is what sensei means, actually. So that's a way for the sensei side to be humble. That makes sense. The name of sensei doesn't mean I am a grandmaster and I'm so much more important than you. It just says that I was alive before you. It literally means, yeah, sensei. But for the people who are going to be calling someone sensei, sensei is the highest rank. It's the same in tea ceremony and also in no theater too. If you're going to be calling someone sensei, that is the most respectful way to call someone. So that means, on the other hand, when there's an actual sensei there and calling your senpai means senior, right? Calling someone that's near the actual sensei as sensei, that will be disrespectful to the actual sensei and to that senpai. The senpai will be, no, please don't call me sensei in front of the actual sensei. It sounds like I'm trying to look your senpai. It sounds like you're making your juniors, your kohai, force them to call you sensei, and that's really embarrassing for them. And you shouldn't do that. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you really should, of course, be careful when you use the word sensei, depending on different situations. And of course, if you're an Ichiden-ryu trainee, if you come to Japan, for example, the training camp, calling Tsukara Sensei and Kurosawa Sensei as sensei in front of Seki Sensei is totally fine because we're all used to that. And I've already explained to Seki Sensei the reason why I want everyone to call Tsukara-san and Kurosawa-san as sensei. So that's totally fine. But if you go outside of the Ichiden-ryu community, you really have to be careful. Let's say I do have occasions where I meet my sensei, if that makes sense. My no theater sensei's sensei. If I'm in that kind of situation, I would, of course, if I had to refer to my sensei who I usually train under, I would probably call him sensei, but I wouldn't say it in a loud voice, if that makes sense. Because, from the sensei's point of view, from his eyes, my sensei is one of his students, right? So, do you guys get what I mean? Yeah. So this is how important this title is. Being called a sensei. It's not something that you can just randomly say to anyone. Okay, and especially for me, I am just a very, very lucky trainee in Asayama Ichiden-ryu. For some reason, Seki Sensei trusted me so much, which I'm very grateful of. But again, I'm still only third dan online and second dan in Hombu, but I was able to start the in-person training, online lessons, and I'm very, very aware that I'm far from understanding what Asayama Ichiden-ryu truly is. I am capable. I'm very confident. I'm capable that I can teach beginners the basics of Asayama Ichiden-ryu. I'm very confident. At the same time, I'm very confident that I'm the person in the whole world that have been translating for Seki Sensei, been editing his videos, been watching his movements. I watch Seki Sensei's videos of him performing the kenjutsu kata, the iaijutsu kata every single day as I have an exercise routine, but I always watch him over and over and over. I've probably been playing his videos the most. I'm very confident about that. But at the same time, though, I'm fully aware that I'm not a black belt yet, and I have no right to have anyone calling me sensei. So, if you're taking my online lessons, if you are, for example, in a situation whether you're deciding you're going to be calling this person sensei or senpai or, other names and such, feel free to call me senpai. Now, of course, different communities will probably have different rules. Please ask the people in that community. But for me, please call me senpai. And I wanted to explain more deeply about the reason why I want everyone to call me senpai, not a sensei. If, in the future, if I'm truly worthy of wearing a black belt in Asayama Ichiden-ryu, when Seki Sensei gives me permission to wear a black belt, then I might be able to say, please call me sensei now, because the reason is because I have to be responsible of now being a sensei because I'm a black belt. I can't be like, oh no, just call me senpai. I'm black belt already, but just call me senpai. That's irresponsible. Okay? If you asked for a black belt, if you train toward that, and if Seki Sensei gave me permission for that, I need to say I am now the person who will be looked up as a black belt, which means I need to act like one. Yeah, so I need to take on the responsibility as being called a sensei. So at that point, maybe in a few years, I don't know how everything will go, but maybe in a few years I might be able to say this to you guys, that you can call me sensei. But for the next couple of years, it does not feel right at all for anyone calling me sensei, so that's the reason why I want everyone to call me senpai. Okay, so that's the thing. Yeah, and to be honest, you don't even have to call me senpai. Especially if we're just talking in English, just calling me Shogo is totally fine. And even in the in-person training and you speak Japanese too, if you could just call me, Shogo-san is totally fine too. It's not a big deal. Just consider me a trainee who was training at the dojo a little bit longer than you. That's the only thing. So you don't have to really think too much about it, especially when it's me. You can just consider me a friend. So okay. Alright guys, thank you so much. Then I'll be talking to you in the next podcast. I'm really excited that in the Wakizashi Tanto class that I'm holding right now, we're very close to starting the Tanto class, going to be starting to train with the Tanto, the short katana, very soon, and also the in-person training too. One of the members actually finally was able to do all 3 kata of the first dan category, the kenjutsu part of the first dan exam, the in-person training, in-person exam by the way. So I'm very excited that he was able to get there in just 4 months, no, less than 4 months. He was able to, just 4 months and a half. He was able to complete all 3 kenjutsu kata and been doing it in a row, all 3 kata triangle side, all 3 kata circle side. I'm very proud of him, and I'm hoping that more of the other students will be able to follow along too. Alright guys, thank you so much for your time. I'll be talking to you in the next podcast. Thank you so much. Bye bye. お疲れ様です。